What is going on, everybody? My name is Gianni, and today we're talking Wheel World. Originally announced in 2023 as Ghost Bike, Wheel World initially caught my attention for its simple but beautiful art style and its seemingly unique approach to a biking game that combined elements of open-world racing games like Forza Horizon with the indie charm of publisher Annapurna's most recent titles. Developed by the real-life power couple Mark Essen and Christy Norinder of Messhof, Wheel World is a feel-good experience that really captures the fun, freedom, and adventure of getting lost on your childhood bike rides, despite some odd design choices and the repetitive gameplay loop. The game puts you in the shoes of Kat, a woman who wakes up in the titular Wheel World and is instantly tasked with taking her new companion, a bicycle demon named Scully, on a mission to collect his legendary cycling parts. Scully needs these parts to prevent a cataclysmic event, and you seem to be the only person suitable for taking on the mission. In order to collect these parts, you'll need to challenge the legendary riders of the region, and to do that, you're going to need rep. This is where Wheel World sets up its straightforward gameplay loop as you accept different races across the map to build rep, take on bosses, and collect your parts. Biking from location to location, you'll run into new parts to customize the feel of your gear, patrons of the world who give you insight on different strategies to win, and even other riders to challenge for bragging rights. And that simple loop really sums up my enjoyment of the overall package of Wheel World. The game feels good to exist in, biking is enjoyable, and I never found myself fast traveling to cut out the riding time. The overall vibe, the ambiguously Western European setting, and the musical nature of the game really paints a pretty landscape to just hang out inside of. Even the races feel varied in their track layouts, run times, and skill strategies. Some races are pure speed runs, while others require you to navigate tight turns with precision. This is where the fun of customizing your loadout comes into play. And while there's varying discourse around the actual effect on gameplay the collectible parts have, I found that there was noticeable gameplay differences in, say, building out a bike that's geared towards speed over handling, or vice versa. I could really feel the changes in my ability to turn, bike off-road, or gain the lead depending on how I was building out my gear. I also have to give credit to the writing team for some laugh-out-loud dialogue between Scully and Kat, as well as the over-the-top bike gangs that populate Wheel World. Nothing felt cringeworthy, even if some of the goofy bicycle puns felt a bit on the nose, and I could hear the cadence and dialect of each character's voice despite there being no voiceover in the game. All that said, I have to go over the ever-looming dilemma I had with my time with the game, and that was commitment to the bit. Every aspect of Wheel World feels like it needed just a little extra TLC or a tweak to take it from a good game to a great or amazing game, and while all of the core pillars of Wheel World are solid, there's something within each that feels just a bit underbaked. First, I want to start with the story. Scully, he's this demon, he needs the legendary parts to prevent the end of all days. Okay, cool, story as old as time. Who's Kat? I don't know. I'm in no way opposed to a faceless, voiceless protagonist. It's worked many times, but even the game makes it seem like she's kind of just a random person who, by way of complete coincidence, becomes this world's savior of the apocalypse, and that's really all we get. I think it would have served the game better to just nix the name protagonist and let us create our own hero, or give just a little bit more on who Kat is, why she woke up where she did, or what her place is in this world. The overall setup of the game's storyline is fascinating, even in its simple foundation, but I think it could have stood to get just a little bit more from a character building or character customization standpoint. Next, the races. I found them all really fun, varying in length, difficulty, and strategy, but what wasn't varied was the in-race missions. Every single race allows you to complete objectives that increase the amount of rep you earn, win in the top 3, collect the floating letters, or beat the top time. And while that extra rep does help expedite the late game requirements to progress, those in-race objectives never change. Top 3, floating letters, top time. Top 3, floating letters, top time. Top 3, floating letters, you guessed it, top time. I loved the idea of checkboxes within each challenge, and look, I'm a shameless checkbox sicko, but I would have really liked to have seen other challenges outside the same 3 rotating ones. Maybe something like finish a race without going off the main path, or come in first place without touching another cyclist, or attain a top 3 spot without boosting. I feel like switching those up from race to race would have made a really cool challenge that varied the gameplay just a little bit. Lastly, there's some pretty easy fixes that can most likely just be patched and updated at a later time. And these are just minor nitpicks that didn't drastically affect my time in Wheel World, but I did want to point them out. First, there were several times during my playthrough where the background music would just stop playing and wouldn't restart until I engaged in a new race. I'm not sure if this is intentional on the dev side for you to enjoy the ambient sound of the game, but there isn't a whole lot of that either, so it felt kind of awkward when it happened. Second, let me reverse. I just gotta, back up 2 steps, just 2 steps backward. Last, I think a little bit of a heads up before your race starts would be really appreciated. The way it works now is you accept the race requirements and immediately get thrown into the race mid-cycle. I think a countdown timer that gives you the breathing room to press your right trigger and start pedaling would be a much welcomed addition. All in all, my time with Wheel World was a solid one. It has a great feel that makes cycling fun and a beautiful world to be in, and best of all, it's short and sweet, never feeling like it's overstayed its welcome. But my biggest criticism stems from its need to just push some of its features a little bit further. If Messhof can do that on their next outing, whether it's Wheel World or in another one, then I'll be seated day one to play. But what are your thoughts on the game? Is it every cyclist's dream, or is it just a bad shift? I'd love to know in the comments below. And be sure to find me here on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Threads, anywhere that you're at, I'm there too. So be sure to give me a follow and a sub to keep up with everything I'm working on, and we'll see you on the next one.